I didn't want it to go down on me. So, yeah. So tonight we're going to do chicken fajitas, and I was saying to you, the chicken. I'm just going to use chicken fillets, and we're going to cut up the chicken, and we're going to add a few spices and herbs and a bit of flavour into it. So you know the way sometimes you buy the packets of the fajita seasoning. This is kind of just making your own. It's really, really simple, okay? So I'm going to do this first. This is like just marinating the chicken. So I'm going to use, just using these chicken. I'm just going to wash my hands. Give me 2 seconds. So whenever you're using raw meat, you need to be really careful. Okay, so I'm just going to give my hands a quick wash again. Hold on. So just give your hands, make sure your hands are nice and clean when you're using chicken, raw meat, okay? So just move this over here. All right. So whenever you're cutting up raw chicken, I always use a separate chopping board for raw meat, okay? And for this, I'm just take off the, you know, the wee bits that you get, the wee fatty bits. I always cut them off. And then just, did Louise get on, did she?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi Louise, are you cooking tonight?
Yes, I am indeed.
Hey Louise, that's grand. So if you want to just get your chicken, just cut it up into wee, okay, like this. Now, on the recipe, I have, let me see, I think I said 4 chicken breasts for the recipe for this. But if you want to just do it for yourself, you can do 1 or 2 breasts. You don't have to do the whole recipe, you know. So, I'm just doing 4 breasts, and we're going to just fry these. We're going to marinate these for a few minutes. Now, what the marinade does is it tenderizes the meat, and whenever we put the flavor in it, it gives it, it allows it all to seep into it, and then you get a nice flavor off your chicken. You know the way sometimes chicken can be a bit bland. So by doing this, it gives it like more of a flavor. Now, as I was saying at the start, if you want to make it like spicy, you can add like fresh chili and that to it. You can add like more kind of spices and garlic and stuff to it if you want to make it a bit more, if you like your food nice and spicy. But this is just like a mild, I use just a wee mild bit of chili, mild chili powder and cumin and a bit of garlic and a bit of lemon juice. And then that just marinades. And just leave it for a few minutes. If you want to do this, you can do this and leave it overnight, okay? So I'm just going to do this. So whenever you use raw meat, be really careful. Wash your hands, wash your knife, and wash your board and your area afterwards. Okay, I'm just going to put this over here and try. I'm washing my hands. Give me a second. And always use a separate knife, or wash your knife, okay? Don't ever use the same knife when you're using raw meat. If you haven't washed it, just make sure you always wash down, and make sure there's no raw chicken left on your hands. And make sure your hands are washed well, okay? So in here, I'm going to put in some, so I have another chopping board which I use, the green one. I use this for vegetables. Here's all the spices I'm going to use. So I'm going to use chili, garlic, lemon, what else? Some salt and pepper. Okay, so in here, I'm just going to add, now in my recipe, I have a teaspoon of cumin. Okay, so we're just going to, cumin's really nice. Cumin's used in curries, and you can use a pinch of it if you're making shepherd's pie. It's very nice. It gives a lovely depth to it. I'm going to put in some salt and pepper, okay? And then I'm going to use some mild chili. So if you want to use fresh chilies, you can. Okay, you can use fresh chilies, cut them up and put them in, and you can leave the seeds on if you like it nice and spicy. And I'm going to use some fresh garlic. So I have some fresh garlic here that I'm going to chop up. Where's my knife? So fresh garlic gives it a really nice flavor. So I'm just going to put one in here. Now, if you want to make these like with 5 spice or any spices you have in your cupboard, and you can use your imagination. Okay, you don't have to do it. That's the good thing about learning to cook is once you know the basics of like doing what we're doing, like marinating, then you can add your own and spice it up, spice it down, or you can add your own. Then I use some lemon juice, so I'm just going to use half a lemon, okay? And I'm just going to squeeze it into my hand. Okay, so when you're marinating, you always need to have something acidic. So lemon juice or acid, like vinegar. So that cuts into the meat, and that's what tenderizes it. Okay, now I'm just going to, so usually when I'm cooking, as I said to you last week, I keep a wee dish beside me, which I forgot to do tonight, for all my rubbish, all right? What else was I going to put into this? Olive oil, so I'm going to use a couple of tablespoons of olive oil, 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Put these in here. All right.
Sorry, Joanna, Patricia had put into the chat, do you flatten the chicken breasts first to ensure they're even when they're...
Do you flatten them?
Yeah.
No, you don't have to. No, because we're cutting up the chicken into strips.
Yeah.
You don't have to, all right?
Okay.
So just when you're cutting it up, just make sure that it's all kind of cut evenly. So then whenever it's cooking, that it cooks evenly, and it cooks, that you don't have a big lump of chicken that's raw and the others are cooked. So try and cut them the same thickness if you can. That's kind of when you're doing any cooking, when you're cutting up any vegetables or cutting up meat, keep everything uniform. So then it all cooks in the same time, so you don't have raw bits. Now I'm just going to leave that sitting over there, okay? I'm only going to leave it for a few minutes. But if you want to do that overnight, you can. You can leave that in your fridge overnight with cling film, and then the next day it's ready. It'll be ready for marinating or for cooking. All right. So I'm just going to put all these back over here. All right. So what I do then is we're going to prepare our vegetables. So in here I have mushrooms. So whenever you're washing mushrooms, make sure you wash them really well. I washed them and dried them really well. So just wash them, run the cold water on them really quickly, and then dry them really quickly. Okay, now I've done these. We're just going to dry them again, because you don't want them to be too rubbery whenever you're, when you're frying your vegetables. You don't want your mushrooms to be really rubbery, because some people don't like mushrooms because of the texture. But if you make sure they're nice and dry and they're clean, and then when you're cooking them and you're frying them, if you do them in hot oil, really, really hot oil, they'll go. They'll keep, like, they'll be firm and they won't be too soggy. Okay, the way you don't like, some people don't like the feeling of mushrooms, and they probably like the taste of them, but they just don't like the texture. So maybe I just put this over here. Yeah. Okay, so whenever you're chopping your mushrooms, just cut them in half. I just cut them in half and then chop them down like that. Okay. So for this, I'm going to use mushroom, onion, and peppers. Now you can use whatever you like. If you want to use whatever vegetables you have in the fridge, courgettes, aubergines, if you want to use your favorite vegetables, you can. I just like these because everyone in the house seems to eat these. The way sometimes you make a dinner and everybody's picking out, I don't like this, I don't like that. Some of them don't like mushrooms, but most of them in my family eat mushrooms and peppers and onions. So it's a good all-rounder. Now it's also, when you're doing these wraps, it's a good way of getting extra vegetables into your diet. And you know me, I'm always trying to get as many vegetables into your diet as I can. especially this time of the year when you need to build up your immune system. So I'm just going to put them in there, okay? So I'm going to chop up one onion as well. Let me see, and some peppers. We'll just do some strips. I just looked at my other knife in a second. My kids have moved all my stuff. No, they move knives on me in this house. They're obsessed with knives. No, I'll just use this one here. Anyway, we'll just use this one. Right, so I showed you last week when you were cutting an onion that you remember that that's the bit that comes out of the ground, and you keep this on, and then your onion doesn't make you cry, and it doesn't break up on you when you're cutting it. So we're just going to cut these into strips. All right. Now I'll just do.
I saw somebody on the telly the other day, a cooking program, and the guy was cutting an onion with a pair of swimming goggles on. Yeah. I felt like shout at the TV, you need to keep the root in. This is how you cut them. Because I learned that from you.
I know. But saying that now, sometimes I said to you last week, sometimes you would get an onion that does make you cry. So,
yeah.
Anyway, so I'll just put all this on this here. All right, keep your rubbish out of the road. And then we're just going to cut this down. So I'm going to cut the root off this one because we're going to cut it into strips. All right. And then, sorry, Louise, if you want to put your oven on, you want to set your oven on at about 180 degrees. Okay. So because I'm doing, I'm cutting the 4 breasts of chicken, I'm going to fry the chicken off, and then I'm going to stick it in the oven for a few minutes while I'm doing the vegetables in the pan. And then I'll mix them together, okay? So it's just so you make sure that everything is cooked and that you have everything, so everything is evenly cooked. So just get your pepper like that, and then take the seeds out, all right? And then we're just going to do these in strips. So you just have to cut it down like that, okay? Now you don't have to be too fussy with the ends, because they'll all be eaten, so just keep them all on. I don't be too fussy when I'm doing fajitas. So just cut them down like that with the strips. Now you can use green beans as well. You can use a bit of broccoli, whatever else you have. You know, there's no limit on it. If you want to do like strips of raw carrot, but cut them really fine, you know. Don't have them too thick or they won't cook. But if you want to like cut up raw carrot, you can as well. And just cut them really, really fine. All right. So I think for this recipe I said, did I say I had 2 peppers, 2 cloves of garlic, 3 peppers. You know what? I'm going to do 1 more onion. I'll do 1 more onion. And then we'll make a big pile of it. It'll not go to waste in this house anyway. So, Louise, are you making this for tonight's dinner?
Yeah, Joanne, yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
She'll be ready. I hope they're not all too hungry. So I'm also going to put in some more garlic as well into this. So now you have all your vegetables ready, okay? So I'm going to get my pan here. I'm just going to stick on my frying pan. I'm going to do this in a frying pan, okay? Now if you have a wok, you can use a wok as well. Hold on a second. Now just let it heat up a wee bit. Just let it heat up a wee bit, and then we're going to add some oil to it. Just give it a nice wipe out. Okay. So this is a non-stick pan I use. It's really good. So it means you don't have to use so much oil. You don't have to use as much oil in it, you know. We'll just let it heat up a minute. So the chicken is marinated. I'm going to fry the chicken first, okay? And then I'm going to put it into this dish here. I'm going to just stick it in the oven and let it cook in the oven while I'm doing the rest of the vegetables. But if you're just doing a portion or a couple for like 2 or 3 people, you can do your chicken in the pan and then add your vegetables. As long as you have enough room in your pan, you know, for you don't want to have too much in your pan, or then your chicken won't get cooked. Okay, so I can hear the pan is sizzling. Okay, so I'm going to spread out the chicken. All right, now because it's a non-stick pan, I'm just using the wooden spoon on it. I'm just going to add a wee drop of oil, just a wee tiny drop of oil to it. There's already oil on the chicken, so just let that. Now you can smell all the spices coming out of it now. It's very nice. Now I'll just leave that, and I'll fry the rest of this later on. I'll actually put it on in the oven. So I've just put the rest of the chicken in the oven there just to cook away. It'll do for later on. So I'm just going to turn this over. So you're really just sealing the chicken. You're just sealing it, and then we're going to stick it in the oven, and I can finish cooking in the oven. All right. Well, that's only because I'm doing a large portion of it. Did anybody make, was it the burgers we made last week? Yeah, did anybody make them?
I didn't, because I'm counting calories.
I can't hear you, Paula.
I'm counting calories, so I didn't make them.
Right, that's good.
I'll make them someday when I'm not counting calories. I hope everybody was able to see the video on YouTube. And I just see Mary has joined late because she couldn't get on. But Mary, anything you've missed? Sorry, I'm just saying, for anybody that missed the start of this, like Mary joined in late there, it'll be on YouTube as well, on our YouTube channel, so you can follow it from the start.
Oh, thanks, Paula. Thank you. I didn't want to speak there because I don't want to stop your good lady.
No, I don't know what happened with the links this week, because you're the third person that had trouble getting on. So I don't know what was wrong with that, but
I'm not very au fait with this technology. I know, Paula, it's very new to me.
Oh, but you're grand. But I'll tell you, I'll be sending the link out when it goes on. The video goes on to the YouTube channel, and you can watch this from the start.
Thank you.
No problem.
Did you start that just from a chicken breast or something like that? Or cook?
Sometimes Zoom is not very reliable.
Joanna, can you hear people when they're talking? No?
What?
You can't hear us all very well, can you?
See with this?
Yeah.
For some reason.
Mary, you'll have to watch it from the start whenever you get the. Oh, here's somebody else coming in now as well.
So it's really nice. The smell of this is really nice. So I'm just sealing it on both sides, okay? And everybody see what I'm doing?
Yeah.
So if you just brown your chicken on both sides, and then I'm going to cook it in the oven. So you just want to make sure your chicken is evenly cooked, okay? That you don't get a raw piece of chicken. I think I have. So, offering an insight into one of Northern Ireland's largest and oldest industries. This is Rare Breed. Now I'm going to put it in the dish. I'm going to put it into this dish here. All right. I'm going to let it, can everybody hear me?
Yes.
I'm just going to let this cook out in the oven, okay?
Okay.
And then we'll do some onions, some peppers. Now I have the mushrooms on the bottom, so I'm going to take the mushrooms out as well. Put them in. All right. I'll throw them in. I'm going to put another clove of garlic in as well. So make sure you just keep stirring it and make sure you're getting all the, because you're getting all the juice from the chicken as well. All right. I'm just going to add another drop of oil, just a wee bit of oil, just to, okay, just to make it cook quicker. And then we'll just add a little bit of black pepper and a little bit of salt as well. Not too much salt. Leave that there. So I'm going to add a little bit more of the garlic as well. I wish you could smell it. It really smells okay. Louise, what's yours coming on like? Nice?
Yes, it smells gorgeous.
That's good.
Yeah.
And it's a dish that children will like as well because it's not too spicy. Sometimes I find if you make certain dishes, they won't eat them because they're too spicy. Did you put much chili in yours, Louise?
Oh God, what happened? Yeah, I did. I put loads in actually. I put fresh chili and the chili powder. They all like spice in our house, so I'm not worried.
Sorry, Louise. Just with the noise of this, I can't really hear what you're saying to me, so I'll talk to you in 2 minutes when this is finished.
That's okay. Yeah, no problem.
Sorry about that.
It's okay.
If anyone has any questions, you can put them in the chat box for me. I'm just going to add a little bit more onion into this. All right. So, so whenever I do the wraps, okay, if you want to do this beforehand, but then because your oven is going to be hot, I usually wrap, these are the wraps that I use, okay, they're tortillas, they're wholemeal tortillas. So I always try and use wholemeal in my recipes because wholemeal keeps you fuller for longer. But you find if you eat white bread or white pasta or rice, after an hour you're hungry, and children especially. See if you eat wholemeal, you'll find a difference because it keeps you fuller for longer. So it takes longer to digest, but it's got fiber in it and it's healthier for you, okay? So I was saying last week, if you can make the swap, like with little things every day, like changing your bread or your pasta, try and change it to whole grain or wholemeal. And you definitely know the difference. You won't be as hungry. And you won't be as bloated as well. I think wholemeal doesn't bloat you as much as white bread or white processed food. All right. We'll just let that cook there for a few minutes. So, so with these tortillas, what I'm going to do, because I'm going to serve these tonight, these won't go to waste in my house, so I'm going to put them in some tin foil, okay? So you just open up the pack. Now, if you only want to use one or two, you can easily heat these in the microwave on a plate for 40 seconds. You can do them in the microwave. But while you're cooking the dinner, you can do this. You can put the whole pack in, okay? Put them all in. And put them in near the end, okay? So, but I'm going to put them in here. I'll put the timer on. I'm going to put them in my oven. So when they're all wrapped up like that, they'll take about 6 minutes. So I'm going to put the timer on just to take them out. you here. Right. Now to go with the tortillas, wait till I just move all this here. To go with the tortillas, I'm going to use I'm going to make a nice dip. Did we make a garlic dip last week? Did I show you the garlic dip last week, or a salsa?
It was a salsa, I think.
A salsa?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a burger relish, I think, wasn't it?
Oh, yes, yes.
Yeah, we made a burger relish, yeah. Well, to go with this, I always serve like lettuce. I always serve lettuce, tomatoes, and I would make like a wee garlic mayonnaise dip to go with it, and a wee salsa. So this salsa has coriander, and I'll just show you. Hold on. There's something wrong with the lid and that. So we just use this one here. This sauce here has it's herbs and basil in it as well already. So, and it's chopped tomatoes. Okay. So it looks a bit like a salsa because the tomatoes are chopped in it. Now you can put in some raw onion as well. We'll put in a little bit of red onion. So I know I showed you this last week, but we'll do another one because it is delicious with the wraps. So I'll just put half an onion into this and some coriander. Okay. Now if you have lime, you can use lime in it as well, and you can use chopped tomatoes, like fresh chopped tomatoes with lime, if you want to add them in as well. Okay. Then I just get my wee dish. Just keep stirring your vegetables. So, and then just going to cut this up nice and small. All right. So you don't want it to be too chunky. So you just want it nice little dice. Okay. Just leave that there. And then the coriander is really nice with it as well. If you have fresh coriander, which I don't, we'll just use where's the coriander? I'm just using dried coriander, okay? Did anybody make this last week? No. At the end of this, you will be experts for all your dips. So there's your then this one here is it's like a sour cream one, okay? So I'm just using mayonnaise and some low-fat yogurt. So this is just 0% yogurt, a couple of spoonfuls of that. All right. Some lemon juice. Just a wee bit of lemon juice. I'm just going to take out that wee oil there. Okay. A wee bit of garlic. So I'm just going to use garlic granules in this. Oh no, it's not garlic. I picked up the wrong one. A wee bit of garlic. All right. And then just give it a wee stir like that. So that really goes nice with the wraps. I spread this on the bottom of the wraps. All right. So that's your dip, your two dips. All right. Now I'm just going to get the chicken. I'm going to put it back into the pan, and I'm going to stir it all up. Now the chicken's still nice and moist, so I'm going to add this in here. All right, and add the juices and everything with it. And we let it finish cooking here. All right. Now, so that's it there. Now I'm going to leave it over here. I'm just going to let it sit there now for a few minutes and simmer away on that, okay? And then we'll check and see if the chicken is ready in a few minutes. We'll just get the vegetables. So I've some lettuce. Use some iceberg lettuce that I've already washed, okay? And I'm just going to chop it. So I'm just going to cut it up into little. Hold on a second. So I'm just going to check these here and see how hot these are. Yeah, I'll just leave them in for a wee while. Okay. Now you can add your tin tomatoes to the chicken fajita mix if you want to keep it a little bit moist. Okay. Now that'll keep it nice and moist while it's sitting there. You don't want to put too much in because you don't want it runny. You want it just to scoop it onto your wrap. People make the mistake and they add too much sauce, and then whenever you're making your wraps, they're quite runny, you know. So I'm just going to put in some lettuce in here, okay, and some chopped tomatoes. So chopped tomatoes, lettuce, and then I do some cheese on them as well. So well, it's a good dinner for getting the kids to help you. If you have kids in the kitchen, they can be doing all these little jobs while you're doing the chicken, you know. So my wee boy, he loves making all the dips, so that's his job. To give him a job, keep him quiet. So lettuce and tomato, and then the next thing I'm going to use is what is it called? I'm going to use some cheese. I'm going to grate some of this cheese here. I'm just using cheddar cheese, but you can buy cheese that's already grated if you want to make your life a little bit easier, you know. I'm just going to grate it here because I don't have any. I'm not that organized. I'm just going to do a wee bit of cheese and grate that. I'm just going to stir this one more time. Just give me a second. Now, so that's just simmering away there. And the wraps are still in the oven. They're still, they're not hot enough yet, so I'm just going to leave them for another wee while. And then we'll just add the cheese. So the grated cheese is lovely with the wraps. Does anybody make wraps at home? Does anyone make their own? Yeah.
I do, but they're not fancy. Like I like those tortillas, and I would put iceberg lettuce, chicken, and red onion and tomatoes in them. Like
Yeah.
and they're lovely. They're really lovely.
Yeah, I love wraps. I have to say they're so handy, aren't they, for dinners? Like if you.
I'm very bad. I'm looking forward to seeing how you wrap them because I never can do them right. You know the way you wrap them and roll them and cut them. So
yeah,
I want to see how you do that properly.
An easy way to do them. So I'll just throw that in there. You can wrap them up just like a wrap. Just roll them up, or you can do them, you know, the way you fold them over. I kind of fold them over.
Yeah.
Make them a little bit fancy. So it's really handy. So say the night before, you can have your chicken marinated in a bowl, and you can have your lettuce and all this chopped up in the fridge. So when you come home from work, all you have to do is stick on a pan and have chop your vegetables and your chicken, and fry it all off. So it is really, really handy, you know. Plus, this is also, whenever the chicken cools down, it's really, really nice if you keep it let it cool down and put it in the fridge. And you can have it for lunch, you know, it's really nice cold, so you don't have to have it hot. So my boys would have it with wraps and stuff, you know, so it is really nice to have. So I'm just going to show you this here. Oops. Louise, how are you getting on? You getting on okay?
Yeah, I'm grand. I'm just making the salsa here. I didn't hear the mayonnaise dip, so I'm just going with the salsa. I have some creme fraiche, so I'll just use that.
Yeah, you can use creme fraiche as well, yeah. Another thing you can use, which is really nice, okay, is this chili. I don't know whether, does anyone use this sweet chili sauce? You
Yeah.
can get this in Tesco and anywhere. So if you use it on its own, or you can add it into mayonnaise or add it into the Greek yogurt. You know, you can make like a wee creamy dip with it, and it's nice. The kids love that. It's really nice as a dip as well. Or you can just use that on top of the chicken. You know, you can use that on top of the chicken. It's really nice.
Joanna, Patricia's asked a question here. She said,
Yeah.
does the vegetable and chicken need to be cool before you put in the tortilla?
No, it doesn't. No.
No.
But it is nice. That's what I was saying. If you want to keep it for lunch tomorrow, you know, if you let it cool it down for about an hour, and then put it straight into your fridge in a tub, then you can use it the next day. It's really nice. Because all the flavors in the chicken, you know, the flavors in the chicken, and it's real tasty. It is really nice as a lunch. So, and it'll last a couple of days in your fridge. So, you know, if you make it, you can have it for about 2 days or 3 days, as long as your chicken is in date. You know, when you buy your chicken, check the date and make sure there's 3 days date on it when you're cooking it. And then once you know that it's in date, then it will last in your fridge for up to 3 days. So just make sure if you're reheating it. So if you're reheating it, what I would do is you can put it back in a wee pan and heat it up, and put like a lid on your pan and just keep stirring it. Or you can do it in your microwave. So just make sure it's really hot. If you're reheating food, make sure that it's really, really hot, and that you bring it up to the temperature. Because if you don't, what happens is whenever you reheat food and it doesn't come up to the proper temperature, the bacteria that's in it will multiply and start to, and then you can get food poison from it. So it's important that you kill the bacteria, so you bring it right up to over 70 degrees. So if you have a thermometer, that would be brilliant. And then you could check it. But you'll know yourself whenever to see the way that steam is coming out of it. Just be careful when you're reheating stuff in the microwave. So, because sometimes in the microwave, it'll get done around the edges, you know, and then the middle will be cold. So whenever you're heating in the microwave, always keep stirring it until the whole dish is heated up, because microwave is very deceiving. Because you'll take it out and you'll see steam coming out on the outside of it, but the middle of it will be cold, and that's where it's dangerous that, you know, you're not getting your food reheated properly. Make sure you stir it, okay? It's just really just because this chicken is chicken has a bacteria called Campylobacter in it, so it's one of those that can cause food poison. So it's really important, like we were doing earlier on, about when you're cutting up your chicken, that you keep it separate from everything else, and that you wash your knife and your board and your hands. And you don't touch the chicken and then go over and turn on your taps and then touch your fridge handle, because somebody can come behind you and touch it, and then they put it in their mouth, you know, and it's cross-contamination. So just to really, really make you aware of all that, okay? Sounds really bad, doesn't it? You're going to eat some chicken.
But it's good to know that, Joanna. It's good to know.
Yeah. No, but some people don't think, you know, and if you're like, they'll cut chicken on a board and then they'll make sandwiches on the board.
Yeah.
Or vegetables, you know. So just make sure if you do chicken or meat or bacon or sausages or anything that's raw, wash your hands and wash the board straight away. So I have these in the oven for about 10 minutes, okay? So I'll do one and I'll show you, okay? So that's a really handy way of heating them up if you're doing them for dinner. Just wrap them in tin foil, stick them in your oven for about 10 minutes, okay? Now I'm going to put some of this, I'll put some of this in the middle, just spread it around, okay? Then I'll put some of the lettuce down the middle, and then, so whenever you're putting it on, make sure it's not too wet, because you don't want, and you want to check your chicken is cooked, okay? Put it onto your board, okay? And if you get your knife and fork, and take kind of the biggest piece of chicken that you can see. That's quite big there. And cut it down, and you'll see it's white in the middle. It's not pink. Once if you see pink in it, then you know it's not cooked, and you'll have to keep cooking it. But that's cooked because that's been in the oven and it's been back in the pan. So just to make sure, okay. So if you just line your chicken, and then get some of your vegetables, some peppers, okay, and line it down the middle, and then some of the onions. Okay, now looking for the mushrooms, they disintegrated. But anyway, so then what I do then is put a few tomatoes on it. Some tomatoes on the top like that. Okay, then just put a little bit of black pepper, and then some of the salsa. Just run the salsa down like that. Okay, if you try and keep everything into the middle of it and keep like a circle on the outside, then get your cheese. Sprinkle your cheese. All right. Now, so then what I do then is I bring it up in the middle like that. Okay, bring it up, and then bring this over and tuck it in underneath. Now the wrap is nice and soft. Tuck it in, and then get your knife, cut it down the middle like that. All right. And you see there. So then you have your. You see that there?
Looks great.
Should have put it on a brown plate actually. I'll stick it on a dark color plate. It'll be better to see.
There's a bit of a glare on the. There's a bit of a glare on the light. It's hard to see the plate right.
Yeah.
Can everybody see it all right?
So,
Okay,
yeah. That's a bit more. That's a bit better. Okay. So then you can have a wee garnish then of your tomato and your. Okay. Wee garnish. And if you want, you can have like wee dips. You can have a wee dip on the side. All right. And then have your wee dip there. All right. So there we go.
Looks great.
That way. I'll do that one there. Do you know what? I'm just going to give this to my son because he's on nights, and I'm going to give him this before he goes. 2 seconds. Connor? Connor gone? Mark? Connor? You want this wrap? Okay. He doesn't want it now after all that. So I'll do another one for you. I'll just do them the way, you know, the way you can just roll them. So you just do the same. You don't have to put the sauce on it. You don't have to put the sauce on. Some people like the sauce and some people don't. So you can also just serve them as a wrap, you know, lengthways. With your lettuce and your salsa and some tomatoes. And your cheese on the top. And then you can just roll them like a wrap, like that, okay? And just serve them like that. Okay, some people like to just pick them up. You can wrap them on the bottom with a bit of a kitchen roll and hold them in your hand if you want. Okay, we'll just put a wee bit of garnish on the side. And there you go. I should have got some cucumber out for a wee garnish. So there you are, and we'll have another wee dip there. Okay? You see that there?
Looks great. There's a wee bit of a glare from the light, but we can see it all right.
Is it from my light, is it?
I don't know. I was trying to adjust the video settings, but I think maybe it's your kitchen light. I don't know if the rest of them can see it, but it's quite bright.
Do you know what? It's probably this ring light because there's settings on it. There.
I can see it clearly.
Okay,
I can, Paula. It's just making me very hungry.
Oh God, yeah, I'm sure it smells lovely. That's a wee bit better, Joanna, actually, for me.
Yeah. I can see it. I can see it well. It's
maybe just my eyesight. No, it looks great, Joanna. I bet you it smells lovely.
Yeah, that's it. That's how easy it is. There's loads of it here, so it's a great idea to make it up and stick it in a tub and keep it in your fridge. And then you'll have it for lunches. You can have it like with baked potato, have it on pita bread, have it with a bit of rice. You know, it'll last a couple of days in your fridge. So so that's
Somebody asked just now, how would you heat it up if you had one and you had left it for a while? How would you heat it up again, or is it better not heat it up again?
Are you talking about the wrap?
Yeah, the finished product.
The finished product, yeah. Well, you can probably. The thing is, the wrap will probably go soggy. That's the thing.
Oh yeah.
But you can make the wrap up. If the wrap is cold and your meat is cold, whenever it cools down, you can make up the wraps, Mary, and put them in your fridge.
Yeah. Well, actually, that wouldn't apply to me because I'm such a gorb. As soon as I make anything, I eat it. But it was just somebody else. Somebody else was asking.
Don't laugh, Mary. Is that what you're saying?
You're just right, Mary. It wouldn't get a chance to go cold.
No, it doesn't. Nothing gets cold because I try to resist sometimes, but it's like a magnet. Whatever it is, all I can have in my head is whatever is that I think I'm going to keep until tomorrow. And eventually I succumb to it and I have it down my throat before I know where I am.
Very good. Not a bad way to be.
Yeah, no, that's good. The only thing is it's healthy, Mary, so you don't feel so bad.
No, well, as well, you can only see a bit of my top of my head.
That's why I'm standing behind this island.
That looked just gorgeous, so it did, indeed.
Yeah, no, well, hopefully you'll make it. Hello, Anne. I didn't see you there. I just seen it in Amazon and Mary, and there's a few extra on since I started.
Just to say that this is all going up on the video on the YouTube channel if you want to follow it later. But what's up next week then, Joanna? I forget.
Next week we're doing chicken goujons.
All right, great.
So yeah, next week the chicken goujons are really simple, really easy to make. So because everybody loves chicken goujons. So
exactly.
Yeah.
Patricia says there she seems to be the only one who asks questions. No, Patricia. Nothing wrong with that. But thanks for all the answers. That's grand. And also, if you don't want to use the chat, you can always unmute yourself and speak. If you shout loud enough, Joanna, you can hear us over the cooking and the fan and all that. So
no, that's okay. I actually think my phone, my sound, I see what you mean about that light. I can see like a wee haze over the light.
Yeah, it's a wee bit better now, but earlier it was just like glaring right down on your plate. And for me, and maybe my eyesight's not great, but no, it's better now. Like so.
Yeah.
No, that's grand.
I can think that it's maybe my camera. I'm getting a new phone, so I need a new phone. I'm just a bit afraid of getting a new phone because when you swap over.
I know.
A few weeks to get used to it, so I've been putting it off for ages.
Yeah, is it the same? Is it next week again, Paula?
Oh yes, it is next Tuesday night again.
Same time, same place.
Same place, Mary. I don't know what happened with the Zoom links this week. I'll need to speak to Anne Marie about that. But hopefully there'll be no problems next week. We'll get that sorted for you.
Yeah. But it's probably my fault, because as I say, I'm not. I'm only very recently since this.
No, Mary, it's not your fault because 2 other people had the same problem tonight.
Yes.
So,
Yeah.
I had three people all on the phone having trouble getting in. So there's something wrong our end, but we'll sort it out before next week. Don't worry.
Well, I just went into the first email you sent me the first week and clicked on it and I got in all right. So
yeah.
It's reoccurring, so I don't know whether it's anything to do with it.
Well, I'm so glad to have gotten this one now, Joanne. For as I say, it looks lovely. It sounds lovely.
Mary.
That's good. Louise, if you get yours finished and you fancy taking a picture of it, don't forget to send it to us.
Yeah, trying to remember. Although it could be down my neck in the next few
Oh, well,
minutes,
take
so.
a picture before you tuck in. That's the main thing.
Yeah. But listen, I'll see you all next week then, and we're going to make chicken goujons next week.
Brilliant.
Fries. So, maybe
Great.
someone will cook along with us next week if you get the recipes. If not, don't worry, just sit back and relax.
Yeah, it's good to
Okay.
watch anyway.
Yeah. Oh no, I like watching and then do it again another time. Hopefully.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you have the video to fall back on as well. So
that's great. Thanks a million, Joanna. Thanks very much, everybody. See you next week.
thank you for watching.
Paul, and
Hey.
thanks for getting in.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.